Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about Sudan and the RSF. I am now, I mean, we haven't had a chance to discuss this for some time, but I am of the opinion that anyone that supplies the RSF is shown and provable to supply the RSF should be under U.S. sanctions. If this applies to the UAE, which of course to Trump is a pretty important Gulf country, then it applies to the UAE. If it applies to any other US allies, US enemies, US anybody, it should apply. It should apply. Because this is horrific. So El Fasher was a town that was captured by the Rapid Support Forces. The Rapid Support Forces is headed by a man by the name of Hemeti. That's the nickname he kind of is thrown around by. But essentially, this is a man who has torn the country in half. Him and the head of the Sudanese military took over after the Blue Revolution in Sudan, pushing out the long-standing strongman of the country. These powers said they were going to help hoist the country to its democratically elected government, but then the RSF and the Sudanese military started just going to war and feuding and took power with each other before fighting each other over who would control the country. Neither of them seemed to be that interested in Sudanese democracy or what the Blue Revolution stood for or what the Sudanese people wanted after it was all gone. I mean, after the last regime was gone. And so they started fighting with each other. Now, the Sudanese military has been accused of war crimes. The Sudanese military has committed atrocities. The Sudanese military is part of the reason, certainly the military leadership, is part of the reason why Sudan looks like what it is today. They helped seize democracy from the mandate of the Transitional Council. They did that. That was their decision to do that with the Rapid Support Forces. But the Rapid Support Forces is full of so many genocidal maniacs who were deeply involved in the Darfur genocide, were the main proprietors, the main perpetrators of the Darfur genocide. And the people who did it are still going around with machine guns, now with their relatives, now with new friends, practicing the same behavior that they did in Darfur. They're now just doing it across much larger sections of the country. And El Fasher, after it was taken, and after the locals continued to resist and resist and resist and resist, but eventually, despite the fact that they resisted much longer than anyone expected, after 2 days of killing, after they captured the city in October of 2025, 10,000 people were massacred. There are still 40,000 people that are still unaccounted for. How many of those people are dead? We do not know. This story goes through a lot of details of exactly what happened, of the massacres, of all of the atrocities. It goes through the whole timeline from 3 a.m. to 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. to the entirety of the killing. I don't want to spend too much time going through all of it, but I do want to read some of it. I feel that is important. The panic among troops retreating towards the west of El Fasher. He knew what it meant. The headquarters of the 6th Infantry, the Army's last Darfur stronghold, had fallen. But there was no official confirmation. Communications were down. Inside the maternity ward by 7 a.m., Dr. Mustafa was jumpy. Several women were in labor as rockets slammed into the hospital, coating expectant mothers with dust. Ibrahim heard the RSF approaching. They target doctors. He changed into his lucky cream sweater, a gift from his fiancée. In his backpack, 2 sets of underwear, a water bottle, and a phone charger. Outside was bedlam. Surgeon Ismail Ahmed saw 70 civilians killed beside the nearby building. The first witnessed massacre of the day. 70 civilians killed. Seeing they were vastly outnumbered, Qatar withdrew his forces to the northwest corner of El Fasher University. He urged residents to follow. Stragglers were being shot at point-blank range, even disabled children. They were killing everyone. Ibrahim darted from house to house. Civilians were shot as they climbed walls, others as they cowered in shoulder-deep trenches. RSF fighters were everywhere. A T-55 tank rumbled by. From a rooftop, Ibrahim watched RSF pickups chasing thousands of people screaming towards the university. Toyota Hiluxes mounted with M23mm anti-aircraft guns pulverized That means obliterated their bodies, like completely. The shells are large enough to tear your body in half. Pulverized fleeing crowds. A heavily pregnant woman, toddler clinging to her back, was attempting to outrun the RSF. Both were killed in front of me. A bulldozer approached, shoveling bodies into roadside trenches. Ibrahim continued west. It took forever, sneaking from one building to another. Enormous crowds congregated at the university. Dormitories heaved. Its western square was standing room only. Drones appeared, dropping bombs. There was nowhere to run. Drought had never seen so many drones, so many civilians massacred. We saw hundreds of children being killed. Qatar ordered an evacuation of the city. Children were taken to El Fasher's western gate. We were getting out civilians while clashing with the RSF. RSF fighters stormed the university's southern section. Inside the university, 1,000 civilians were hiding. The militiamen, oh my God, the militiamen entered, killing at least 500 people. Survivors had to play dead. To the east, open ground lay between the university and Ibrahim. Once a picnic area, now it was a 100-meter wide kill zone. RSF pickups rammed anybody attempting to cross. Ibrahim kept hearing his name. Former patients, many badly wounded, were calling out to the 28-year-old for help. But I couldn't. I was trying to save myself. That moment I lost my soul. He ran, leaping over bodies, his white Puma trainers strained with blood. He was stunned by the crowd, wedged within the university. The whole city seemed inside, but it was terrible. Massacres were everywhere. He noticed a woman disappear down a 50-centimeter wide trapdoor and followed her into an underground water tank. Of the dozens of mostly women and children there, many were injured. Some cradled bodies. It was catastrophic. Some had carried their dead inside. No one spoke. A 5'8" tall, faded water. Oh, the water reached Ibrahim's chest. Rodents floated on the surface. A soundtrack of screaming came from above. I heard people begging them not to kill them. It was very close. Others saw RSF gang raping women in the university rooms piled with bodies. You continue to read this. It's about hundreds of children being executed, pregnant women being shot, women being raped in universities, thousands and thousands and thousands being killed. I mean, you could just read again and again and again and again and again of people being massacred and the RSF celebrating between the bodies. The RSF is a genocidal organization. I don't use the word genocide lightly. I say genocidal to mean that it has committed the crime of genocide in Darfur. And it is now using the tactics it has used through its genocide to continue its massacres throughout the country. Any government that is funding them should be sanctioned into the ground. They should be isolated for this activity. There is no way the country could ever stabilize under the RSF. The RSF will massacre thousands more. The RSF will be extremely repressive. And all of the problems that led to the Blue Revolution in the first place will remain and be doubled and be much worse than what came before it, leading to more instability, leading to repression, leading to the grinding of the people's spirit down. Not to mention endless waves of repressions, massacres, mass rapes, and killings. The people who do these types of attacks and take these cities will be rewarded if they win. They will be given ministerial positions. They will be given police positions. They will be made generals. They will be given medals, and they will be touted around as heroes after they raped woman after woman after woman in these buildings. And the governments that are supporting them, the Russian Federation, the UAE, should be sanctioned and prevented in every manner possible from supporting the RSF. If that means blowing up their weapon shipments in the country, so be it. If there has to be some coalition to do that. If it means sanctioning the parties that are supporting them until they remove any and all support and they give evidence of them removing that support, then so be it. Whatever is necessary should be done, because there is no end in sight to what's happening in Sudan, but an RSF victory is an endless spiral of bloodletting. An endless spiral of bloodletting. There has been some attention in the United States Senate before. I know my senator, Chris Van Hollen, has brought attention to this before, but I remember listening to him say, I have been assured by the Trump administration that the United Arab Emirates is not supporting the Sudanese armed forces. But after the United Arab Emirates has been boxed out of Yemen, are we so sure that they're not going to continue support? I am quite positive they will, and so will be reliant on U.S. consequences, real action being taken for them to stop. Because why would they think they wouldn't have to when they have an administration like Trump's, which quite frankly does not care all that much? Because these are the types of massacres that don't make many Western headlines.